Welcome to the Financial Aid and Awards session. It's great to have everyone here today. My name is Tanmay Bhatia, and I am an orientation team leader with the Student Life Office. I'm here with my fellow team leader, Jasmeet Singh. We also have Ivan here, who is the presenter for today's session. Before we get started, I have a few short announcements for everyone. First, I would like to acknowledge that although we are together virtually today, the U of M campuses are located on the original lands of the Anishinaabe, Cree, Oji Cree, Dakota, and Dene peoples, and on the homeland of the Métis Nation. We respect the treaties that were made on these territories. We acknowledge the harms and mistakes of the past, and we dedicate ourselves to move forward in partnership with Indigenous communities in a spirit of reconciliation and collaboration. We want everyone to be aware that this session is being recorded. Also, not that we expect this to happen, but anyone engaging in disrespectful behavior will be removed from the room and will not be permitted to re-enter. I'd also like to mention that everyone will be muted and their video will be off for this session. Just a few words about asking questions here. Keep in mind that this session is delivered by Ivan on the topic of financial aid and awards. The presenter is highly knowledgeable in the subject matter that they will cover, but may not be aware of things outside of the scope of this presentation. If your questions pertain to things outside of this topic, you may want to search umanitoba.ca for more information. The website is always a good place to start. Just use the search bar to ask your questions. There are dedicated offices also to help you with your questions, like the Admissions Office, the International Center, Student Life, and the First Year Center, to name a few. Also, we often find that most questions that the students have are actually answered during these presentations, so please hold on to your questions and we'll make sure that we get to them before finishing up. For now, the chat option is disabled. Once we open it up for questions, please be aware that the chat is publicly visible and there is no private chat option between the participants. Having said all of that, I'll turn things over to Ivan to introduce themselves and to start the session.
Hi, everybody. My name is Ivan Henwood, and I work in financial aid and awards at the University of Manitoba. Like most of you, I'm at home right now. If you hear any meowing, my cat has joined in on this meeting, so I apologize in advance, Crackerjack. So I'm just going to go over some basic financial aid and awards information for you. Let you know the process for applying for financial aid, and also tell you a bit about what we do in the department. So I found the best way to do this is with a PowerPoint. So excuse me while I set this up. Hi, buddy. 1 second. So we'll go through this, and like my co-host said, please, if you have any questions, we'll get to them at the end. So here we go. Financial aid and awards. We are located at 422 University Center. Of course, our offices are closed right now due to the shutdown, and will be closed until at least January. So we are all working remotely. The best way to reach us is by phone. The number is right here, or by email, awards@umanitoba.ca. We have a staff that answer phones and email questions Monday to Friday, 8:30 to 4:30. You can reach out anytime during those hours and we will get back to you very quickly. Our office, I won't get too much into this, but basically this is our office and who works in the department. The 4 frontline award officers, that's my position. Essentially those are the people you will be talking to when you contact our office. Like I said, we have 4 people answering phones and emails. We also have a number of people who do award selections. They're the ones who, deal with scholarships and bursaries and whatnot. But the 4 of us frontline officers you will be dealing with when you contact us. Like I said, don't go to our office. Campus is closed, so email and phone right now. excuse me, in 2019, 2020, we issued more than 32 million in award funding to students. This came in the form of scholarships, bursaries, and other prizes. Again, this is not student loans. These are scholarships, bursaries, and prizes. Last year, 1,400 students received the entrance scholarships. I don't know if any of you have received that this year. I know the scholarship offers went out, I think, last week. So if you had received it, you would know by now. But basically, that's over $2 million to first-year students coming into the university. And that was all based on your high school academic merit, so your high school grades. About 5,500 students received scholarships. That's over $12 million. Scholarships are based on academic merit. Over $500,000 in athletic scholarships, 6.2 million issued in bursaries. The difference between bursaries and scholarships, whereas scholarships are merit-based, which means they're based on your grades and your course load. Bursaries are actually based on financial need. So they're based on those who need the money. So they often require some supplemental information in the application, specifically your finances and whatnot. I'm going to put you on hold for 1 second. Sorry. Sorry about that, folks. That's real life problems, CAD issues. 1.3 million in award funding from outside agencies, and approximately 5,000 out of our approximately 35,000 students receive student aid. So about 15% of the total student body. This slide is a little out of date because we have just updated our website, but if you log on to the university website, you will find us. We have our own page within the website called Financial Aid and Awards, and there's many resources here available to you. I won't go through it right now, but please have a look on our website, or pardon me, our web page on the U of M website, because there's a lot of information, including scholarships we have our awards database, information on the work study program, and a lot of other useful information for you. This is a list of the different types of awards and programs and services available. Scholarships are available to students. Like I said, scholarships are based on academic merit. Bursaries are available. Bursaries are based on financial need. Government student aid, that's what most people, most students apply for when they need help financially, and that's, again, facilitated through the government you reside primarily in. So I'm going to assume most of you, not all of you, but most of you are Manitoba citizens, so you would be applying via Manitoba student aid. If you lived in BC or Ontario, you would apply through the government, your home province. The steps are really very similar, though. We have a work study program available, and basically that's available to students who have financial need. They are able to work. There's different positions that are posted within the university that income will not count towards your against your income. So it's basically money that will supplement your student aid. We have a food bank available. Unfortunately, I don't know how that's going to work this year because the food bank is located in University Center on the 5th floor. Now that campus is closed, we're still trying to figure out how we're going to make that accessible for students. I think what will happen is we will just have limited hours, or we will have to set up an appointment to meet students there. But basically what that is if you know, many students, they find throughout the year they miscalculated their funds, or for whatever reason they don't actually have money to feed themselves, and it's basically we have a large pantry available. And again, that is free. It's available to students in need. So if that's something that you might need, contact us and we will arrange that for you. Again, it's all confidential. Emergency loans, that's another option. You know, we don't like to promote emergency loans, but sometimes emergencies happen and students, they find themselves in dire situations and they need, you know, they need money to get from today to next week, or they miscalculated something and they don't have money for their rent, or, you know, there are options available. If you come to our office and you let us know your specific situation, you know, perhaps an emergency loan might be right for that. And again, this is all emergency loans and food banks. That's all confidential between the student aid office and the student. On our website, we have a searchable awards database, and I'll get into that in a bit. But it's basically you're able to look up any awards that you might be eligible for, including scholarships, bursaries, and bursaries. So this is our website. You just go to the university main page and then type in financial aid, and it'll take you to our specific page on the site. This is just a snapshot of the awards database. So again, you can find this on our website, but this is a great tool for you. Basically, you know, you plug in the different variables, the faculty you're in, what you're looking for, whether it's a bursary or a scholarship. There's certain other award types in there. Your major, you can be very specific, and it'll pull up the different awards that are available to you. Again, this might be more useful to you once you enter your second year and you exit out of University 1 and you enter into a different faculty, because a lot of the scholarships are faculty specific. So, you know, there's scholarships available to science students, and you have to be in that faculty to receive it. But this is a great resource to see what scholarships you do qualify for. I sort of touched upon this, the work study program, but just want to be clear, there's a deadline to apply for the work study program, and it's not actually the deadline, it's around September 12th. I'm sorry, this is a little outdated. It'll be the same week this year, but if you contact our office, I can give you the specific date this year. I apologize for this being a little out of date. Now we're just going to dive in a bit to the process of applying for a student loan. And again, I'm going to just work with the Manitoba system here, although the other provinces are very similar. It's just the portal looks a little different. But to apply for a student loan, you will need to create an account at manitobastudentaid.ca. And then we'll take you through those steps right now. What is Manitoba Student Aid? It's basically a federal and provincial program that provides supplemental financial assistance to help pay for full-time and part-time post-secondary education. So just to be clear, when you apply for Manitoba Student Aid, you're actually applying to the provincial government as well as the federal government. And this application process takes care of both of those, sort of two birds, one stone, if that makes sense. This is just a snapshot of what your Manitoba Student Aid portal will look like. You create an account and then you'll log in, and this is where you actually apply for your student loan. Just to be clear, you don't apply for your student loan through our office. We help facilitate the process, but you actually apply for the loan through your Manitoba Student Aid portal. They have a lot of relevant information available to you. They're very good at posting current processing times. This will give you an idea of when applications are received, how long they take to respond to them, generally how long they take to process. You have access to all that information. You have access to the forms and different questions. But it's your home base with Manitoba Student Aid. So I strongly recommend you familiarize yourself with your portal. Now, are you eligible for a student loan? Basically, to be eligible for a Manitoba student loan, you need to be a Canadian citizen, a permanent resident, or have refugee status. To be eligible for a Manitoba student aid, you need to be a Manitoba student. Again, if you come from another province, this will be different, but similar. You need to be enrolled in a designated school and program. University of Manitoba is a designated school. I want to be clear about the program situation though. You need to be in a degree or a diploma-oriented program. So let's say you're a first-year student and you're taking extended ed, you're taking a math course, but you're taking a math course to upgrade your skills. You would not be eligible for a loan for that. You're only eligible for a loan if you're working towards a degree or a diploma. So I'm going to assume most of you are. That's generally the case. You also have to be enrolled for a minimum of 12 weeks, which is basically one of our terms. There are certain limits. Certain limits on how long you can take out a loan. I won't get too much into this, but you can't take student loans out for your whole life, for instance. There's a time limit. I think the way it works with Manitoba Student Aid is you're eligible to be funded. Let's say you're taking a 4-year degree. I think they will fund you. I know they will fund you for up to a year extra. So if you're taking a 4-year degree, you can receive loans for 5 years. If you're taking a 3-year degree, you can receive loans for 4 years, for example. There's also a lifetime limit. You can receive loans for multiple degrees, but I think you max out at, I believe it's 10 years or 12 years. I can clarify that for you later if you would like. What's available through Manitoba Student Aid? Basically, when you apply for student aid from MSA, you're essentially automatically applying for grants, bursaries, and loans. And this is great. What happens is many students will apply for a student loan, and based on their financial need, they will receive grants. And the great thing about grants and bursaries are they do not have to be repaid. It's essentially a gift to the student from the organizations. So when you apply for your Manitoba Student Aid, you're considered for grants. And this happens quite often where a student will, let's say they apply for a $3,000 student loan, they will receive half of that in grants and half of that in loans. Which is great because you only have to pay back half of it. So it's really great that they roll in the application into one step. What's available as far as supplemental assistance? Essentially, when you apply for a loan, the max is $350 per week of study. This is the max. Do not expect to receive this. It's just it's the maximum you could receive under certain circumstances. $210 from the Canadian government and $140 from the Manitoba government. You don't decide that breakdown. When you apply for the loan, the government decides how much is coming from what lender. It's not up to you. It is responsible for you to pay back the lenders separately. But they sort of break down the math that way. Maximum for 17 weeks is $5,950. 34 weeks is $11,900, and 52 weeks is $18,200. Again, those are maximum amounts. If you are a student with a dependence, you might be eligible to receive more money, $200 per month for each dependent. That includes children or someone under your care. Canadian student aid grants. Again, grants are maxed out at $375 per month, and that's does not have to be returned. And there's also through the application process, there's what they call boost top up, which is an additional grant of $200 per month, which might be for anything really, computer equipment, anything. But it's really based on your application. They look at what your need is, and they will decide based on that. Non-repayable student grants. These are available for people with permanent disabilities. They're available for equipment, people with persons with disabilities. If you have a disability, we strongly recommend you register with accessibility services because there are many benefits to doing that. I won't get into it now, but there are benefits to registering with the university because we consider that when we look at your course load requirements and whatnot. The advantages of a government student loan. I know many people would think, why would I want to do that? But there's no interest while you're a full-time student. So if you take out a loan this year and you go on to do a 4-year degree, you will have no interest accumulating. Whereas if you took a loan out with the bank or a credit union or a line of credit or other lenders, usually interest starts accumulating from the time you take the loan. Good thing about a government loan, you pay no interest until you're done university. Till 6 months after you're done full-time studies, to be specific. This is a very good thing. So, I don't encourage people to borrow money, but if you're going through university and you need money, this is pretty much the best way to do it because you will have no interest till you are done. As I mentioned, when you apply for a student loan, you're applying for 2 loans. You're applying for Manitoba Student Aid and you're applying through Manitoba Student Aid for a Canada student loan as well as a Manitoba student loan. You don't have any sort of say on how that is broken down, but essentially it's 2 different lenders, so it is actually 2 different loans. This is how they determine your financial need if you're applying for a loan. They look at your costs, and your costs will include tuition, books, supplies, fees, living allowance. And then they subtract from that the resources. That would be the money you have. So that would be your financial contribution, any scholarships and bursaries you've received. Again, that counts as income. Government and private funding. They look at how much your parents are contributing. They take that away from the costs, and pretty much what you're left with is your assessed financial need. And that's basically the maximum amount they will fund you for. Part-time funding includes school costs, daycare, and transportation. It's based on gross family income, and they do look at your family size, so that affects it as well. Now, how do you apply? This is very important if you're going to apply for a student loan. There are 2 loan applications. There's a full-time studies application and a part-time studies application. Now, you have to be very careful with what you apply for. Full-time studies, as far as financial aid is concerned, is a 60% course load in each term. What that means is 18 credit hours. So if you're taking, 9 credit hours per term, 18 over the year. So if you're taking 9 credit hours in the fall, that is a 60% course load, and you are a full-time student. If you drop a course and you end up taking only 6 credit hours, it actually drops you down to part-time. So if you fill out a part-time study loan application and you're a full-time student, you will be denied and you'll have to reapply. Conversely, if you fill out a full-time application and you're part-time, you'll be denied. So what this means is if you receive a student loan and the conditions of that loan are that you're a full-time student, you have to remain a full-time student for the duration of that term. So if you receive a student loan based on you being full-time and you drop down to part-time, they will take the money back. So you do have to meet the conditions of your loan. If you have any questions about that, you can ask me at the end. Thank you. Again, this is just a snapshot of the portal. Here's the process for full-time students. Applications begin for the September term. Applications are available online beginning June. I think they're open already. It's okay to begin an application, or it's okay to submit an application before you're registered. It's actually advised. This doesn't happen instantaneously. Excuse me. The whole loan process takes a bit of time, so we really encourage you to apply as early as you can. You can apply before you're registered, and then you just submit that information to them after you register. The only information that is required to begin the process is your school and your program, your income and your parental income if you're living with your parents, and your bank account information. If you have all that information, you can begin the application process. And again, we really encourage you to start it early. Many students, they will apply a week before classes start, and they're not approved in time, and they don't receive their money, and you are required to pay your fees on the fee deadline. And if you do not receive your loan till after the fee deadline, there is a penalty. There's a late fee of $50 that gets applied. You might be put on hold. So we really encourage you to start the application process early so you don't put yourself in that situation. I won't go through this, but this is just a checklist that Manitoba Student Aid gives you regarding your application process. You can find this on your Student Aid portal, your Manitoba Student Aid portal. This is a quick glance at the process, the application process. So essentially, you'll begin your application online, stage 1. Within a couple weeks, you're going to receive your notice of assistance from Manitoba Student Aid. And that's going to let you know what you have to complete or what you have to gather to complete your application. You're going to gather all those documents, and that might be tax documents. It might be anything like that. Depends on your application. But you will gather those documents, and then you will submit them to Manitoba Student Aid and the National Student Loan Service Center. And then they're going to take another 4 to 6 weeks to actually review your documents and process your loan. At which point, if you are approved, they will send the university, they will send us the money to cover your tuition. Any excess money will be sent to you directly. So they give us money for your tuition, and any other money lent to you will be put in your bank account, I believe is how they do it. So good luck. I just have one more quick document I'm going to go over with you. Here we go. Sorry, one moment. So here's just a brief bullet point, some important information you should know about financial aid. Again, when you apply for a student loan, extended ed is not a valid degree program as far as Manitoba Student Aid is considered. So you will not receive any loans if you were taking courses in extended ed that are non-degree, non-diploma. Again, I can clarify that if you have any questions. To remain eligible for your student loan, you must never drop below 18 credit hours for the fall and winter term. That's 9 credit hours per term. That's for full-time. So if you have Taking out a full-time loan, you must meet the requirements of your loan. If you drop below these amounts, you will have to return the money immediately. Often that is done without you even knowing. So just be very careful if you start dropping courses if you have a student loan out. You must remain in 18 credit hours in fall and winter term for bursaries. You must remain in 24 credit hours in fall and winter term for scholarships, which is even higher. Excuse me. As I mentioned, avoid any delays by making sure that your registration matches your loan application. So what that means is make sure they have the proper information. It is up to you to report the proper information to Manitoba Student Aid. If you are dropping courses, you should inform them. They need to know. These dates are out of date, but they're around the same time. Fall term fee payment deadline, I believe, is October 1st this year. Winter term is the beginning of February. Please look on the University of Manitoba website for the specific date, but it is right around these days. As I mentioned, if you have any changes, update your Aurora and your provincial and national student loan information. This includes contact information, course load, etc. None of this is updated automatically. It's up to you. This is very important. Step number 9. We do have bursaries available. And as I mentioned, bursaries are based on financial need, but you do have to apply for them. The good thing is it's one general application. That application opens on August 1st and closes on October 1st. Really, we encourage you to fill out this application because it makes you eligible for, or it makes you really considered for any bursaries you might be eligible for. And many students are surprised. They end up find out halfway through the year they receive a bursary they didn't know they were going to get, and it's because they filled out this general application. So strongly encourage you to fill that out because you might receive money that you didn't know you were entitled to. At any point, if you have money in your Student Aurora account that has not been used for tuition, or maybe perhaps you paid too much in tuition fees, or you know, you VW'd a course and you have if at any point, if there's money in your account, all that money belongs to you, and you can request a refund from money in your Student Aurora account at any time. And that's done online, and within 7 to 10 days, that money will be sent to you via check or email money transfer. I think I'm going to leave it there, and then my co-host will help us open up to any questions you might have.
Okay, thank you, Ivan, for that.
Thank you. Yeah.
I will now open the chat for student questions, so feel free to type in your questions.
If you come up with any questions that you don't think of now, you can send us an email at any time at awards@umanitoba.ca, and we will answer you. I'll just start with the first question. What if I am an international student? How do I receive aid? I'm gonna assume you're a first-year international student. Really, the only aid that we have available for first-year international students is the entrance scholarship. You would know if you had received that already. Oh, sorry about that. Most scholarships and bursaries open up to second-year students. And you are eligible, absolutely, you're eligible for bursaries and grants and scholarships. Student loans, like I said, you have to be a permanent resident to receive a student loan from the government. What I'm going to ask you to do, Vicky, is write us an email at awards@umanitoba.ca. Actually, any international students with a similar question, and I can answer your question a little more explicitly, elaborately. and give you all the information you'll need for international students, but it's very much a similar process to domestic students. Does entrance award money automatically go towards the tuition fee? I'm going to assume you mean entrance bursaries. Yes, essentially the money is put in your account and it is automatically applied towards your first year fees. Yes. Is there any way we can access the last document he showed? Absolutely, Avneet. Write me an email at awards@umanitoba.ca and I will send you that document. It's a PDF and you're welcome to have a copy. Again, anybody else, just email us and I will respond on Monday and send it to you. Yes, thank you, Vicki. Where do you register a disability? We have, again, maybe my co-host can help with that. We have an accessibility service center at the university. I believe they're located on the 4th floor. I've not actually gone through the step, but if you go onto the University of Manitoba website and look up accessibility services, that'll include the process to register with that. And there's many benefits if you have a disability. There's many benefits to registering. If I have poor credit, is it possible to be denied for the student loan portion, yet still receive bursaries and grants? Daniel Gibson, good question. I don't want to give you the wrong answer. I think so, but this is something that Manitoba Student Aid ultimately decides. So I know you can apply for a loan with poor credit. Whether you are accepted or not, I think depends on your credit, but I think that application will still make you eligible for loans and grants, bursaries and grants. I would advise you, Daniel, to maybe contact Manitoba Student Aid with that question. Again, I think that's it. If you email awards@umanitoba.ca, who should I address the email to? You can address it to me, Ivan. I also have 3 coworkers, but either one of us will read it. You could just address it to hello, Manitoba, or Financial Aid and Awards. I think that's it for the questions. Thank you very much. And I wish you all luck. Good luck.
Okay, thank you for all those wonderful questions, everyone. Also, if you have questions about your application, offer of admission, or student number, you should log into the application portal and take a look for instructions or communication. If your issue is still not identified, please email admissions@umanitoba.ca. If you have questions about your study permit or any requirements for international students, please contact the International Center. In the end, also, if you have questions about program options, registrations, or what courses to take, please be sure to check out our Get Ready to Register series. Sessions on course selection happens this week, starting on 15th June until 19th, and we will begin our sessions on timetabling and registration on the 22nd, going until June 30th. Thank you so much all for your questions and for joining us today. Stay tuned for emails with information about more sessions and programming coming over the summer. Enjoy your next session and the rest of your day. Also, I will leave all the information about the International Student Center and the registration and offer of admission requirements and their email addresses in the chat box. So, thank you everyone for coming.